Hey everybody, what's up? I'm your host Spencer Andrews, A.K.A. DJ Dre, and today we're talking to Courtney, A.K.A. DJ Big Body from Brooklyn, New York. And I got to admit, it's been a while since I've had a U.S. NYC DJ in the mix. So, Courtney, how you been? How's everything doing?
Good. How are you?
Okay, so Courtney, what was your inspiration to become a DJ? What made you wake up and say, you know what, I want to be a DJ? What was it that did it for you?
Well, I've always had music in and out of my family, whether it was singing. My mother would play her records. My oldest brother is a DJ. So when I was about 9, I had this passion for music. So I said I wanted to be a DJ. And at that time, I'm 39 now. So at 9 years old, 30 years later, well, not exactly 30 years later, um, I was 9 years old. So um, nobody was going to take a at that time. Nobody was going to take a female DJ, a 9 year old, seriously.
I started at 16. I learned at 16.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for me, I started in the world of strip clubs. So, here I am at 17. People never took me seriously.
So I put that idea to bed, like, okay, let me just tuck this away. And a few years later, I was 32 actually.
Only a few years from 9.
One of my high school friends, I went to junior high school. In high school with, I graduated high school with him. His name is DJ Lego. So shout out to DJ Lego. He was the one who told me. I was talking smack to him on Facebook. Like, yeah, I'll DJ you under the table. Never had a DJ lesson a day in my life. Don't know anything about DJing at that time. So he said, if you're serious about DJing, come to my house. I'll show you the rope.
And that was one of the questions I did want to ask was that did you, have somebody that took you
Yes.
under their wing? Because, like, this is going to lead into so many questions. I may not be for you. I feel, and I tell people this today, for anybody that has become a DJ recently or within the last 7, 9, 10 years probably, you will never see one day in a nightclub unless somebody puts you there. And those chances are remotely slim. When I started DJing, we worked for the nightclub. We worked for the owner. We
Right.
didn't have to work for a promoter. Promoter comes up, says, "Hey, who should I have as a DJ?" And you can come up to these people and say, "Hey, I've been DJing for the last X amount of time. Here's my stuff." It doesn't matter.
Well, what I can definitely stand on and say that the DJ game has changed from when you came along.
Of course.
Now, back then you really had to be skilled
Oh,
on turntables to be a DJ. You really had to show and prove. If you had a DJ mentor, you had to show and prove definitely to that DJ mentor that you were ready to become a DJ, or that
exactly.
you were ready to keep the title DJ. Nowadays, all you have to do is buy a laptop.
Yeah. I get a lot of music off of YouTube. Either you listen to a show I just did recently or you just know this, which is good, then I'm for you. But it's true. People are on Facebook and they're seeing these promotions. Hey, you can be a DJ too. Just buy this DJ controller. And just, right,
Absolutely.
to be a DJ, there is no friggin' sync button. And I am sick and tired of these people, buying not that it's a bad piece, a Pioneer controller. Then they go out, they buy a MacBook, and they say, "Hey, I'm a DJ." You're not. Just because you download 100 songs doesn't mean you're going to be a DJ. to be a DJ, I remember many moons ago, I was doing a venue, and they had a female, and I went back to check her out just for the hell of it, because at that time I was starting to promote female DJs. You guys are marketable, and I went back to see her, and all she did was stop and play. I wasted time for this. I walked up to her and I said, "Hey, just so you know, you're not a DJ, you're a jukebox." You have to be told the truth whenever it is. And that's it. What players do you have?
What else do I have?
Tell me Gemini, and I am hanging up on you right now. Yeah, what?
So, no, I started when I first started DJing. I did buy a Gemini controller, and then my brother noticed that I had a Gemini controller, and he was like, so no,
No!
you right. He's like, so no, you have to get quality stuff. And I'm like, but I'm okay with my Gemini. He's
No,
like,
you're
no, you
not.
need
You're not.
right. He says, no, you need something better.
Or better
And that's
off,
when
you
I
may be okay with it, but I'm sure as hell not.
so I did wind up investing in everything Pioneer. I have Pioneer turntables. I have the Pioneer S9.
You get techniques.
I know I wanted the
Yeah.
Pioneer. I
Well,
wanted the Pioneer turntables because they were white. Because I like a lot of colors.
one of the issues Gemini had was lag.
Absolutely.
You cue it up and everything, you're all happy. You hit play, and you're like, come on, catch up, catch up. That's the whole idea of professional equipment.
Here's the reason why I got turntables. Because when I first started, I had the Gemini controller. And then I went to the Pioneer controller. And it still didn't feel right. Most of the time, I was going to the park jams in Philly, and everybody at the park was playing on turntables.
Yeah, but you see, you can't do that. The see, that's one of the errors that a lot of DJs make. Don't don't look at what everybody else is. I mean, yes, have the right equipment, please, because if you don't have the right equipment, you're only screwing yourself, and worst of all, you're screwing your clientele. But have the right equipment because it's going to make you feel more comfortable.
Nobody was using controllers at the park, and I'm like, damn it, I want to play. I don't want to sit on the sidelines all the time. I couldn't play on turntables.
You wanted to prove to yourself, and I got to give you credit on that one because proving it to everybody else is one thing, proving
Right,
it proving it to yourself is another. So,
right,
okay, so you wanted to be, hey, look, I can do this.
right. So I said the next summer that I go down there, I will have mastered the turntables because I'm gonna buy me a pair so I can stop sitting on the sidelines like a basketball game or whatever. The player is sitting on the sidelines and never gets in the game.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
no, that's not what I wanted to do. It wasn't until I bought a pair of turntables and I mastered the turntables that I decided, that I went back and was like, damn, I'm in this game now. Let's do this.
Okay, but you had somebody that showed you how to do it, and you tried to do it on your own, and you said to somebody, "Look at me, am I right?" You had somebody to back you up. That's what's important.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so okay, because we talked prior to coming on, and like I said, I was schooled. And when people, because like I went to a guy, I said I want to be a DJ, and he says, "You want to learn? You come to me. You're gonna do this 3 times a week, at this time, and then on the weekends you're gonna come to a nightclub where I DJ at, and that's how that's gonna play out." And I said, "Okay." He was my teacher. I
Right.
learned. But there's like a lot of things that you need to learn. A lot of things that a lot of DJs still need to learn. Like
Absolutely.
back in I hate to sound like I'm that old. I'm only 52. I'm not old. But when we used to do it, the record pools would send us vinyl. And
Right.
a lot of the music, which people didn't know, a lot of the music that you heard at the time was only being played because we said it was good.
Right.
It was a time where the DJs controlled the music, not the radio
Right.
stations. So
Right.
we told the radio, "Hey, this is good. You play it." Then,
Absolutely.
then what started happening is people were idiots. One day, the radio station would say, "Hey, that was number one," and then you would go, "Oh, okay, so it is." And they were telling you what kind of music to listen to. People can be programmed. Um, a lot of the times when I play venues, I do nightclubs and I do festivals. I play music that they haven't heard, and I mean, I play house.
Right.
I know you know house, especially some of that classic stuff, especially Elias. Follow me.
Yeah.
I don't know how many 50,000 ways I've remixed that.
Right.
If you don't know Earth People, you need to hear this track. It is the simplest form of music. It is it's just a bass beat and a little bit of
Mhm.
guitar. That's it. Just boom, 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 boom. That's it. But
Right.
but people loved it, and that's the thing. Music was at its simplest form. Do you think from the time you started, a time where you knew music prior to that, but this is music you had to use now? From the time you started playing to now, do you think music has changed for the better or for the worse? And we should start out with your thoughts on hip hop because I got no problem with hip hop. I have a problem with the garbage that's out there. Auto fucking tune. People are using auto
Yeah.
tune now.
Yeah.
Listen, where I come from, either you can sing or you go home.
So now with that, Roger Trotman, he was the best at auto tune, but that was back in the 80s, and that was like unheard of. He was like the one to do that.
He
Now,
was a trendsetter. He set that.
right,
You know,
right.
but
But it
unfortunately,
was cool.
But
It was
unfortunately, yeah,
cool.
but he didn't put down any fucking guidelines for auto tune. That was the problem. He should have came with a book.
But it was cool for him to do auto tune because then, like you said, he set a trend. When you hear Roger Trotman, you think automatically auto tune. That does not mean that it had to continue on up until this present date.
You,
It was good. It was good for Roger Trotman back in that era. It
you
was an era thing.
hip hop used to be about your life as an artist. You basically told your story through hip hop.
A lot of people do not read the crowd. They play whatever they want to play, and if the audience likes it, great. If they don't, still great.
Right,
They're
and
gonna play what they want to play.
right, and one of the things is you can't look at a 25-year-old crowd and say, "I was 25. I know what they like." It doesn't work that way. I am not that type of DJ. I play nightclubs, and my venue is different. When they call me and they say we want you to play, I say, "What type of music do you want that night?" I play house music. I play reggae. It depends. I am now, because I've been doing this for 25 years, I am a guest DJ. I walk in, I play, I leave. And I'm damn proud of that because I earned it. But when I go into a club, I will play music that they know. It's kind of like drugs. You have to keep them hooked.
Right.
And you're doing that by playing music that they know. But then I slowly start playing stuff they don't know. And that's how I became who I am because people are like, "Holy shit, I never heard that before." Now, there's stuff out there, techno and trance. I don't play that shit. That's like 160 beats a minute, and you need to be high as a kite to listen to that shit. That's not about what I do. People always ask me, and I'm going to ask you, how do you prepare for your night? And I say, well, I wake up, I take a shower, and I go to the club and I drink a lot. What do you do about your playlist? And I said, I don't have no playlist. So, Courtney, what happens for you? Now, you're an event. You do events. You're not in the
Yeah,
clubs.
I do. I do private events.
But
What I
is there a lot of playlisting going on for you in that manner?
so what I do is I will ask the client. Um, First I'll go off of age. If it's like a 50th birthday party, I'll ask them because I at 50 they may or may not want to hear today's hip hop. You know, depending upon the person. So what I'll do is I'll ask them, give me an example of some songs that you may want to hear.
Right.
And then they'll give me examples and then I will build around that. And then when I get there, if are like younger people, like I'll read the room.
It goes back to what Courtney said earlier, reading the room. At what point of your first time DJing, when did you learn, hey man, this is strictly business? When did that happen for you?
That happened very early on because I was surrounded by people who were in the game for millions of years and they taught me early on, like, listen, this is a business, get your money, never mind anything else. Once you get your money, then you can, play later.
People that do this, that start out, they feel like this is going to be fun. Like, it's not fun for me. It's a business. Now, again, I've been a house DJ where I've had to play 8, 9 hours. I've done that.
Hmm.
I told Courtney, I walked, I had to lug gear around and play a couple of events. My career was very fast tracked. It happened very fast for me. I've carried, 9 crates of records.
You didn't have a roadie?
When I first started, no, because I was a nobody. Started pretty quick for me. I was 16. In my late, I was a late 16-year-old. Um, by 17, I was down in Manhattan buying Technique turntables at 250 a pop.
Hmm.
But I had to buy mine with a partner. I had a friend of mine, and we said, all right, we'll each buy a turntable because we were that fucking broke. Um, so, we were down there buying our Technique turntables at 17 by, I think, 18, definitely, or maybe late 17. We finally had gear. We had 1 amp speakers, tables, mixer, and of course, plenty of vinyl to do a house. Um, but I had that, and then I worked in, let's see, one, two, I worked in like 3 strip clubs. I did like a strip club a year, and by my third year, people started coming out. It was kind of like having a.
A recruiter?
You're right. Well, people were coming out and like, yo, man, I heard about you. I like you. I like what you play. So by my third year in the strip club business, I was being picked up by actual nightclubs. And then I would do a nightclub for like a year and then move on to another nightclub. So at this time, I was still doing nightclubs 8, 9 hours, as a house DJ. And then by the time I hit late 20s, kind of made it. By the time I was like 25, I could charge 1,500. But I had my chance to travel and all that, and that's what I'm just saying. For me, I was blessed. You learn very quickly. This was a business, so you learned at a young age. You're not fucking around. This is a business for you. Um,
Right.
you already had good equipment by now,
Hmm.
and you've already proven to the gods you're capable of vinyl.
Right.
What was your first? Well, even if it was a DJ CD, what was your first piece of equipment after the turntables?
Um, After the turntables, I would have to say I had gotten, well, actually, the turntables was the last thing.
So, Courtney, what are you using for? You had the turntables, but you said the turntables was the last piece of equipment. Um, you were using and you had a Gemini controller, so that was being used on a computer. You have a gig. What are you using?
Tomorrow night I have a gig. So it depends on if I want to be just blah, or if I want my personality to pop. Then I use if I want my personality to pop, then I
She's
use my
turntables.
turntables. Yep. Let me explain the difference. So this is where the girly girl comes out. So my turntables, my Pioneer turntables are white. My control vinyl is purple. My needles are pink. So my S9 mixer, it has a purple and white skin on it with half pink and half white knobs and some black knobs in between. So that's where my girly girl side comes out. And I also have pink and a set of purple XLR cables. If I want to be, I get that all the time. So if I want to be, like whatever,
Yeah,
then I'll just drag.
because Courtney, I have to tell you right now, it's like maybe it's because you're a female, and I accept that. I accept that. This is the female edition. So much more to a female DJ, and son of a bitch, we've tripped all over it. Because you know, like like if Courtney said to me, "All right, Dre, you're doing an event tomorrow. What are you doing?" Well, most of my events already have equipment, but this is going to be an outdoor event, so I'm going to grab my Pioneer decks and the controller and the laptop because I just like dual, I like double redundancy, and that's pretty much it. And I have a sound company that we rent equipment from, but that's on the customer, and that's it.
Like I said, all my male DJ friends are like, "Oh my god!" like they're like, "All right, so be ready in like an hour, and you don't have to color coordinate everything. It's a big to do when it
No,
comes to me."
you know, she is going to coordinate her purse with her shoes, and yada yada
Absolutely.
yada.
Now this is where and also my laptop has a skin on it that with my logo on that lights up and it's purple.
What are you using for a
So
laptop?
I'm using a MacBook Pro.
Mac, Apple, basically, is a media monster. It is meant, the Mac has been built up as a media monster. Any
Absolutely.
any producer, any musician, any um, editing is done with that. Um, so, I mean, would I chance using a PC over a Mac?
I do know some people. I know quite a few DJs that use a PC
Well,
and not a Mac.
I'm a little fucked up in the head. I'll take the chance. I mean, I still bring CDs to when I do a gig as a backup. I mean, I am scared shitless of spinning with a computer. I really am.
Okay.
I will go do a gig and I'll bring two fucking laptops, and I'll bring CDs. And people like,
Absolutely.
and
As you should.
right now, you're just basically you got the turntables. What's the other then? And what's the other thing for you if you're gonna do what you do?
CDJ SX2.
What are you using for an amplifier?
I have a set of EVs.
So we understand what you're using for equipment. We've understood how you work, and I'm glad I'm not throwing any events because I would really, really hate for you to go through hours of color matching. I feel so bad. And I'm glad I don't have to buy pink XLR cables. But But Courtney, it was a pleasure, and it was fun to have you on the show,
Yes, there
and
was.
and I appreciate it. And hopefully people get because I really don't know. This whole interview was fucking a blur. Um, but I really hope people get an insight into what it's like to be an event DJ. Before we go, is there anything you want to plug, Courtney? Anything you got going on?
I am having a toy drive for children in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the She Spins DJs in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is December 11th. So if
Okay.
you're around, come on out.
There you go. That's the way you do it. It's charity, and that's where I personally don't do charity. That's why I'm going to hell. But if we do make exceptions. But no, seriously, Courtney, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's been a pleasure. And once again, you're listening to In the Mix. I'm your host, Spencer Andrews, and you've been listening to DJ Big Body.